I just want to make, brothers and sisters, 4 points with regards to the massacre that took place today in New Zealand. And there's so much wallahi that can be said on this issue. When I was putting together my notes, first in my head and then on paper, like there was over 10 points that came to mind that I thought are important and vital to share with you guys. And then more and more stuff just kept coming to my head because the situation is so disturbing, so painful. There's so much to be said, so much to be thought about, so much to be reflected upon, so much to be planned, so much to be done. But then I thought to myself, you know what? The best speech is that which is summarized, but it has strong meaning. So I've summarized everything that I wanted to say into 4 points. Well, I haven't summarized, I just disregarded the other points. And I want to share these 4 points with you. The first point, brothers and sisters, is I want to answer a question that many of you might have in your head, and that is, why is this happening? Why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would allow for this to happen? What would be the wisdom behind innocent people, innocent Muslims being gunned down inside of the masjid when they went they went to just pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They just went to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's the wisdom behind this happening? And there's a very powerful verse in the Quran that mentions the wisdom behind why this might have happened today. And it's actually something that should give a lot of strength to us in terms of faith and iman, and it should actually bring a smile to our face when we hear about the passing of these people in such a beautiful way. And it won't just answer the question as to why this is happening in terms of what happened today, but it will also answer the question as to why the Muslims are going through what they're going through in Burma, why the Muslims are going through what they're going through in Syria, why the Muslims are going through what they're going through in Yemen, why they're going through what they're going through anywhere in the Muslim world where they are struggling at the hands of oppressive, tyrannical enemies that are spilling their blood and killing them and dropping them dead in the streets. The ayah answers the question. Look what Allah said. Allah said, وَتِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and like that, the days, the good days and the bad days. Sometimes you have good days, right, where you're winning and you get victory. And sometimes we have bad days where we're losing, we're getting killed, our blood is cheap on the streets. Allah said, like that, we نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. We alternate the days between the people, meaning sometimes we make the Muslims on top, and they're the ones who have victory. And sometimes we make the Muslims low. Sometimes the Muslims are the ones who are getting killed. Sometimes the Muslims are the ones who are losing their life. Sometimes the Muslims are the ones who have been unjustly treated on the streets, being killed innocently, violently. Their rights are being taken away from them. But why? Why is Allah alternating the days like this? Allah said, why? وَلِيَعْلَمَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Why? Number one, 2 reasons Allah gives. The first reason is so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can find out who really believes. Because it's easy for you to believe and say, you know what, I'm going to go pray Jum'ah in the masjid, and I'm going to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to wear a hijab, when you're not being beaten on the streets for it, when you're not being killed in the streets for going to pray, when you're not being beaten in the streets for wearing a hijab. It's easy to wear a hijab when no one's attacking you because of it, but when everyone's mocking you for it physically, verbally, emotionally, but you're still wearing a hijab, now you prove, Allah, I'm doing it for your sake. Allah, I'm a real believer. You know, when you go to bed, and everyone's doing it because it's fashion, it's the retro fashion, that's hard. But you know, when you grow up big, when you're being mocked for it, you're not being given jobs, you're being attacked in the streets, that's when, you know, it's a sign of iman. So this is a test of faith. Listen, it's easy for you to believe and go to the masjid and pray when no one's killing you. But when they start to kill you and run up in the masjid and spray you, are you still going to go to the masjid? That's the first reason. The second reason is, وَيَتَّخِذَ مِنْكُمْ شُهَدَاءَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take martyrs. One of the best ways to die is as a shaheed, to die as a martyr. To die as a martyr, you have no reckoning, no accounting. On the day of judgment, you get resurrected from your wounds, the places where you're shot and you're stabbed. It's smelling a beautiful smell and a beautiful fragrance. You get such a high reward in paradise. Subhanallah. How else would you die as martyrs if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make a means for you to die in that way? So sometimes Allah will send a tyrannical, oppressive shaitan to come and take your life. But why? Because Allah wants to give you a better life, a greater life, not just a life in Jannah, but a life in Jannah of a martyr. So these are the wisdoms. Wallahi, we don't get upset when ours die, because inshallah ours, when they die as martyrs, they go in paradise. But for the ones who kill ours, what's going to happen to them? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَن يَقْتُلْ, anyone who kills what? مُؤْمِنًا, a believer, مُتَعَمِّدًا, he does it intentionally. 5 punishments he's going to have. What are they? فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمْ, he's going to go hellfire. خَالِدًا فِيهَا, he's going to be there for eternity. وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ, Allah is angry with him. وَلَعَنَهُ, Allah's curses upon him. وَعَدَّ لَهُ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا, and after that Allah said He prepared a mighty punishment for them. 5 things. So for the ones who kill the believers, Jahannam, hellfire, eternity, Allah's curse, Allah's anger, and a mighty punishment. For the ones who are dead, martyrdom, inshallah ta'ala. Inshallah, we say inshallah they're going to be shaheed. So how else would they have the chance to have this honorable death if it wasn't for the fact that someone take their life? And what is it about the martyr? The martyr, he will want nothing more once he's been given everything in the next life, except he would want to die again for the sake of Allah, the same way he died. If he could go back and be killed again for the sake of Allah, he'd want to go back and be killed again and again and again and again and again. So wallahi, we're happy at such an honorable death for our brothers and sisters. They died in the Masjid. They died when? They died after Jum'ah, on Jum'ah. They just worshipped Allah. They just worshipped Allah. They gave their obligation to Allah. It's like they say, Allah, I came, I delivered my obligation to you. Now you can take, I'm doing what you created me for, to worship you, and now I'm gone. That's the first thing I wanted to share with you, brothers and sisters, why this is happening. Number 1, to test if your belief and your iman is real. Number 2, to take martyrs from amongst us. I remember the Sahaba and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they struggled a lot more than this. They were being killed and ransacked in the streets. Let's be real, this is a rare occurrence. It's not like every day we're being gunned down in the streets, but then they were being killed like literally like every other day. The Prophet had to actually send them all to live in a different country. He had to send them to Abyssinia because it was so dangerous for them where they were staying. The Prophet ﷺ told his companions who were complaining about the torture and oppression, they said that the Prophet said there was people that came before you and they would be sawed in half, literally sawed in half like this, and their skin would be peeled off with iron combs. Iron combs would peel their skin off, and what would happen? It would still not cause them to waver in their faith. The second thing that I want to mention is how to bring about change. Because Allah said, تِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ, that sometimes Allah alternates the good and the bad days. The bad days, why? Why is it the days when we're getting killed? To test our iman and to take martyrs. But what about the good days? The days when we have victory, the days when we have strength. Allah tells us when those days are going to come. Allah tells us how those days are going to come. Rather, Allah makes a promise that those days are going to come. Allah, in fact, He makes 3 promises. Look what Allah said, to show you that the days will come. But at the end, Allah, He tells you, but there's something that you have to do. Something that Allah, He wants you to do in order for Allah to bring these 3 things that He promised. And I'll mention that at the end. The first thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, look, He said, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ. Allah said, Allah, He makes a promise to those who believe from amongst you. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. There's a promise to those who believe and those who do righteous actions. What is the promise? لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. That Allah will make them strong on the earth. Allah will give them khilafah on the earth. Allah will give them strength on the earth. كَمَا اسْتَخْلَفَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. The way Allah gave it to those who came before them. Did the Sahaba not struggle when they were being killed in the streets? But did Allah not give them khilafah and make them strong? Allah saying, Allah's going to do the same for you. The way He gave it to those who came before you. Not just that. وَلَيُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ دِينَ لَهُمْ الَّذِي ارْتَضَى لَهُمْ. And Allah's going to make your deen established, your religion established, the religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has become pleased with for you. Not just that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَيُبَدِّنَنَّهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ خَوْفِهِمْ أَمْنًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will change the state of fear that you Muslims are in to a state of safety. Right now we're scared for our lives. What's going to happen? I go out in the streets, am I going to get attacked? Am I going to get gunned down just for going to the Masjid? Allah says He's going to change the state of fear that you're in to a state of safety. So 3 things. Number 1, strength on the earth, khilafah, authority on the earth. Number 2, your religion will become established for you. Number 3, you'll be in a state of safety. These are 3 promises, and Allah, He doesn't lie when He makes a promise. But like, what's the condition for Allah to fulfill that promise? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, that's what Allah's going to do. But as for me and you, for Allah to do that, لا يشركون بي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يعبدونني, worship me alone. Allah said, لا يشركون بي شيئا, and don't do any shirk. Don't worship anyone else besides me. Don't worship any false gods besides me. Don't take any idols as worship besides me. Don't worship any idols, any prophets, any walis, any saints. Don't take no one as a god besides me in worship. Worship me alone. And wallahi, brothers and sisters, if we look at our ummah, why has the strength been taken away from us? Why has the authority been taken away from us? Why has fear been placed over us? It's because we are people who started to worship besides Allah. You will struggle to find a Muslim country except in it graves have been erected and worshipped besides Allah, whether it be prophets or saints. Sometimes they bury sinners and they worship those sinners. Sometimes they don't even know they're worshipping donkeys that have been buried, but they tell them this is a saint just to make money from them. So many of us are wearing ta'weez. We think that the ta'weez is going to bring us this little idol, this little medallion, talisman, tamima, hersi, as they say in Somali. This little ta'weez is going to bring us what? It's going to bring us protection. This is shirk, brothers and sisters. This is one of the reasons why the ummah became weak. And the ummah will collectively become strong again when? Is when we come back to tawheed and worshipping Allah alone. That was the second point I wanted to make. The third point I wanted to make, brothers and sisters, and it leads on from the second point, is what do you do right now? What do me and you do? What do the Muslims in New Zealand and Australia and everywhere else in the world, what do we as Muslims do right now? Two things. And Allah mentioned them in one ayah. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. O you who believe. O you who believe. Are you a believer? The verse is talking to you, so bring your ear close. O you who believe. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah. Inna Allah ma'as-sabirin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O you who believe, seek help in patience and prayer. Verily Allah is with the patient. Pause. Allah mentioned two things, patience and prayer. You might say to yourself, what's prayer going to do for me right now? They're being killed in the streets. Our brothers are being killed. What's prayer going to do? What's salah going to do? What's worship going to do at this time? Wanting to make political statements and protests and go out there and do that, right? That's what you might think. No. Allah is the one who's going to bring that victory and that help. That's why Allah said, seek help in patience and prayer. There's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and this hadith is so relevant to what is happening today. Wallahi, brothers, pay attention to this hadith. Please pay. If you haven't listened to anything I said up until now, please listen to this hadith. Please listen to this hadith. Hadith Sahih Muslim, Sunan ibn Majah. Imam Tirmidhi narrated it as well. But the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-ibadatu fil haraj. That worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in times of bloodshed. Worshipping Allah in times of bloodshed is like what? Kal-hijrati ilay. Is like you leaving off everything that you have. Leaving off your children, your wives, your wealth, your property, your husband. Leaving it off to go and join the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To go and do migration, hijrah to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not just to do any hijrah. We know hijrah is something that's so great that it deletes all your previous sins, as if you just became a new Muslim. But this is greater. This is hijrah to the Prophet himself. The Prophet said, worshipping Allah, al-ibadah fil haraj, worshipping Allah in times of bloodshed, in times of killing and massacre, is like leaving everything, doing hijrah, leaving everything that you have, all your possessions, leave everything, leave your land, your country, and going to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to migrate to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is exactly what worship is. This is the importance and the power of worship. And this is what the solution is that I mentioned in the second point. The solution is worship Allah alone and don't do any shirk. So in this time, worship Him through your salah. Specifically, go to the Masjid. Right now, people are going to be making political statements. Muslims just want to get involved in politics. Bro, forget politics, man. This political stuff is a joke. You think these politicians care? They don't even want to call this terrorism. They don't even want to say this is terrorism. And you're still singing that same old tune, that same old song. Oh, you don't call it terrorism. Look at the double standards. But who gives a damn about the double standards? They're kuffar. We already know what they feel about us. We already know what they feel about us. Why am I begging for Him to recognize me? Allah is waiting for me to turn to Him, so He who actually has the ability to flip it over in a second can flip it over in our favor. But we still refuse. And what is it? Hashtag political statements. Right now, if I could give you a practical advice, oh men, if you really are men, yeah, you talk about, oh, I'm angry and this, that and the other and whatnot. Okay, be a man then. Go to the masjid. Spend today in the masjid. They killed your brothers and sisters in the masjid, right? Don't be scared now. Don't be a little wimp, bro. Oh, let me take time out of the masjid, bro. Go to the masjid. Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu, the man Umar, was killed where? In the masjid. Leading the salah, imam, fajr, front row, stabbed him right there. Do you think that made the Sahaba get phased? No. They didn't stop going to the masjid. Go to the masjid. Worship him. Pray your prayers. Read your sunnah prayers. Read your Quran. Do your dua. Because Allah looks down on people like that. And He says, these are the people that I'm going to honor and raise and elevate, and I'm going to give them victory. Don't get caught up in a hype. Look, the Prophet said, ibadah, worship at the time of bloodshed is like doing hijrah to me, right? Why? Because at the time of bloodshed, no one's thinking about worship. It's all politics. And he said this and she said that. And let's do this and campaign and everyone forgot to worship Allah. So at that time, the worship has got extra special reward. And you want to make a statement? Make the statement in jama'ah. You want to talk about unity? You can't even be united in a prayer. And you want to talk about unity? Brothers and sisters, now understand this is a time more than ever for us to be spending more time in the masjid. And if they want to come kill us, let them come kill all of us. We say, Allahumma inna nas'aluka shahada. Oh Allah, we ask you for martyrdom. We ask you for shahada. If they're going to kill us, what better place for them to kill us and drop and spill our blood than the masjid? We love it. Happy with that. Not that I'm saying that, please, there's always idiots out there who want to try and misinterpret and take your stuff out of context. I'm not saying go out there and fight. I'm saying if we go in the masjid and they want to do something, what better place for them to do it than in the house of Allah? Worship your Lord. This, Allah said, because of this, Allah will help you. Seek help because of this. The second thing is patience. Patience. Why am I saying patience? Because in Mecca, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down the verses of patience. When the Muslims were being killed, Allah said, أَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. Turn away from the ignorant ones. وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ. وَأْعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. Turn away from the ignorant ones. And in Medina, when the Muslims were being violated, now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةً. Fight them now, until there's no more fitna. So, which verses do we apply? Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, in his Sarim al-Maslul, he's got a very nice book. He mentioned that for us, when the Muslims are living in a land where they're weak and they don't have no strength, no authority, they don't pick up arms and they don't bear arms and pick up weapons and fight. No. In Medina, they were a country, they were a state, there was an army, there was a leader. But like now, when you're weak, you apply the verses that were sent down in Mecca, the verse of sabr, the verse of patience. You're not more of a man than the Prophet. The Prophet saw some of the Sahaba being killed in the streets, yet he didn't pick up no swords or no weapons to fight. Why? Because he didn't fight for his sake or his personal emotions. He fought when Allah told him. Allah doesn't want you to fight in a situation where you're going to kill innocent people and you're going to create more bloodshed and you're going to bring more harm onto the Muslims. No, that's stupid. They're going to pass more laws and kill more of our people and more of our innocent women and children. Just because you got a little bit trigger happy, angry, you go out in the streets and say, let me murk myself a kafir, let me do X, Y, Z. And what happened? Because of that, legislations and laws were passed. Because of it, men and women, their children were taken away from them. Women had their niqabs ripped from the streets. They were raped. Others were killed because of your selfish actions. Rather be patient. Allah wants to see, can you be patient at this time? Allah's testing you. Remember why? He's taking martyrs from you. And not just is he taking martyrs from you, but what's he doing? He's testing your iman to see if you're real. So that's the two things you could do right now. Worship Allah. And I'm saying specifically, go to the masjids. Right after this, spend the day in the masjid. Pray your 5 daily prayers in the masjid. Brothers, pray your 5 daily prayers in the masjid. Sisters, if you don't go to the masjid, no problem. Just pray in your homes. Pray. Dua, fasting. This is the time to do it. Allah helps and honors a nation because of this. And number 2, patience. The final thing I wanted to mention is just an advice that I wanted to give. And the advice is, please man, stop looking at the kuffar for help. they're not going to help you. They don't want to help us. Yeah, there are some people from amongst the kuffar who have a sense of justice, and we appreciate that, and we're not going to say no if they lend us a helping hand. But I don't know, man. I can't find it in myself, as a slave of a Lord who has ability over each and every single little thing, to keep asking the governments and the politicians of the non-Muslims to have empathy, sympathy and pity for me. I can't do that. I don't. Just stop it, man. It sounds so. Ask Allah. Like, if you spend even half that time, that effort asking Allah, wallahi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have responded a long time ago. These guys, 80,000 of you come protest in the streets, wallahi, they don't even put it on the news. If 80,000 of you went to the masjid and prayed, wallahi, Allah would respond. And to show you like what they really like and what they really think of us, look at this statement I came across. Just, I don't even read the statement to you, man. Whatever, I can say whatever I want to say, but people are still gonna get onto this ikhwani, political kind of thing. I'm here to advise you. Just ask Allah, man. These guys, they're not gonna help you. They don't want to help you. They if they wanted to help, they would have helped long time ago. Then they're not gonna help you. They're not gonna help us. So leave them alone. Let them do whatever they want. I'm not saying politically talk against them or talk in favor for them. I'm saying leave them. You go to the masjid. You worship your Lord. Allah will bring you victory. With that said, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. I'll turn the comments on quickly. If you guys have any quick questions, I'll try and do my best to answer them. If not, I'm going to bounce because I need to go to the masjid myself. Okay, guys, if there's no, please, appreciate you guys are showing love and whatnot. Barakallah feek. Just if there's any questions, let me know. If not, then I'm going to bounce, inshallah. Anyway, inshallah, I'm going to post this onto my YouTube channel, share it, spread it around. I'm also going to post a little video on my Instagram timeline. Please just put that around as well, inshallah ta'ala, so people can benefit. Barakallah feek. Okay, it doesn't seem like you guys have any questions, so I'm going to dip, inshallah ta'ala. Make loads of dua. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Listen, go to the masjid. Assalamu alaikum.